The Breaker is back. Possibly one of, if not the best martial arts stories of all time to be committed to Manhwa form is finally coming back. And I have some thoughts. So this will be a quick little announcement video to talk about The Breaker's third installation finally coming out, and some of my personal opinions on how it's been going so far. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So, The Breaker, after about 3 or so years of absence, is finally back with its third part, The Breaker Eternal Force, which is a damn cool sounding title, I have to say. It currently only has 13 chapters as of the time I'm writing the script, so anything I say will be only pertaining to the part of the story that has already been released. So The Breaker Eternal Force has some key differences to the previous installations of the series, the main one being the art. While the previous two iterations of The Breaker were done in a manga style, with it being in black and white and also laid out on the pages in a panel-like structure, just like in a manga, The Breaker Eternal Force has completely left that behind. So Eternal Force is now being illustrated in a webtoon style, with pages being organized to make it easier to scroll through vertically, and with less consistent layouts between the panels. And it's in color, of course. And while this change may bother some, I personally don't have that big of an issue with this. Of course, I will miss those 2-page wide spreads that made the original Breaker so enticing to read, but the art in this installation is nothing to scoff at. It still retains the original stylings despite having changed in its appearance. And I also kind of saw this coming, as the duo who made The Breaker had been shifting their other series to the webtoon styling as well. Well, aesthetics out of the way, let's get on to the story. So The Breaker Eternal Force picks up a few months after the second Breaker left off, but not in the way I was hoping it would. So the Eternal Force has a new main character, or semi-main character, and this isn't really a nice way to putting this, but I'm not a fan. The story does the thing where like the previous main character becomes a mentor or teacher to a new main character set in the same world, and I really dislike that. At least thus far, and hopefully this changes because we're only like 13 chapters in, this new character named Kang Ha-jae seems to be taking up the brunt of the screen time for this season. His introduction is obviously an attempt to mirror Shiwun's story arc in the first Breaker, with him standing on a roof and contemplating suicide, but while Shiwun, the previous protagonist, is saved by his master, the Nine Arts Dragon, in Eternal Force, Ha-jae is saved by Shiwun. Now, I dislike this for a variety of reasons. First off, to me, The Breaker has always been about the struggle between Shiwun and his teacher, Gunmun Ryong. The thematic struggle of strength versus honor is embodied directly in their battle. To me, adding a new character doesn't do much else aside from distract from that already compelling drama between the two people the story should have been focused on. Who knows, maybe the new inclusion will be made to tie into that struggle in some way, or maybe he gets shafted from the story entirely earlier on. Which I honestly kind of hope for, but he really doesn't seem to warrant the amount of attention the story is giving him. His character is literally an exact copy of Shiwun's character from the first Breaker, except in this story it is Shiwun who is teaching him instead of the Nine Arts Dragon. Ha-jae literally does the exact same things for the exact same reasons that Shiwun used to, except it just comes across as 10 times more annoying because we have to watch it again for no real reason. And like, it's not like Shiwun didn't have anywhere to grow or develop as a character from the end of the second Breaker. He still has so much to do, and if anything had just reached a place where I want to see more of him. He's finally accepted the title as the Sunwoo clan leader. He has to come to terms with what happened at the end of the last season of The Breaker, and he has to work on his newfound strength and train himself up to fight against his former master. But no, this new character who's starting from scratch is so much more important than any of that. I really sincerely hope that Ha-jae gets downgraded to a side character or something, because I've been really enjoying seeing all the familiar faces in the story of Eternal Force, but the experience feels slightly more infuriating, because we can't even focus on getting to know these people in this world again, and we just have to tediously follow this newbie through struggles we are already familiar with. Okay, I'll dial it back a bit. Even though it may not sound like it, I sincerely think that The Breaker Eternal Force is perfect in every aspect besides the one I just mentioned. And I really hope that any of you that are fans of The Breaker check it out. Just keep in mind what I said and don't get too disappointed. And who knows, maybe this change will actually turn out for the better. But yeah, we'll just have to see. I probably won't be making too many updates on The Breaker Eternal Force until something drastic or amazing happens. But yeah, either way, please consider subscribing and share this video to anyone else you think is interested in The Breaker. And I'll see you guys later, and bye!